Well, I guess as many fans will know, the band have not toured the US since 1982, and I know there's quite a buzz amongst North American fans who are excited about these shows. I guess an indication of this is that a couple of the shows at the Whiskey A Go Go, along with one in New York City, have already sold out. How does it feel to be back on North American stages after such a long time? And the US press back then were not always kind on those 82 shows, and one review with Aerosmith labelled you, quote unquote, a Mickey Rooney with muscles.
Yeah, that's funny as. One of the things that I think endeared, it's one of those curious things about, it's one of the curious things that I think that Americans, in retrospect, seem to have in common with Australians, and not so much the British, but even maybe the Scottish, but certainly some pockets of European. Like, we upset a lot of people on our first tour because of America. We went out with we did two very high-profile tours back in those days. We went out with Pat Travers too, like on a lesser scale, as we did with Nazareth and a couple of, but going out with ZZ Top and Aerosmith, we were playing big stadiums, and they weren't used to what we looked like and what we sounded like, and also our attitude, and they weren't used to. One of the things that became very apparent very early in the piece was that they weren't used to people swearing on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Tyler, he said to me, like every now and again, like he'll drop a fuck here or a fuck there or whatever, and but they were sort of like, they were considered to be the bad boys of rock and roll, and I remember him saying to me one day after we'd it was funny because we'd upset the people because of what was happening. They were very, they wouldn't turn the lights off, and the crowd were very unruly, and they were sort of throwing paper cups and cigarette lighters and a whole lot of other shit onto the stage, and they weren't really impressed with the band. I told them basically all to go fuck themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you're a bunch of fucking cunts, and no one had ever said that to them on stage before, and I just said, fuck you. And so we did a short. So we only had like half an hour, I think, anyway, or 40 minutes that night, and I said, where I come from, we're taught respect, and respect people, and blah blah blah, and you're just a bunch of fucking ignorant cunts, and you can all get fucked, and basically walked off stage, and then we came back about a week or two later and played the same place. I think it was Rochester, I'm not too sure, but and Stephen said, you can either not turn up if you're worried, and we'll still pay you, it doesn't matter. And I said, no, fuck them. And he said, that's the right attitude. He said, go out there and own the fucking place. And I said, we walked out on stage and said, right, sit down, shut up and listen to the fucking music. And they did. So it was like, even though we were rude to them, they loved it. It was kind of like, that's what I'm saying, that thing about they've got in common with Australians. Australians like things, like straight up and down. They don't like to be fucked with, and they don't like to be bullshitted to, and they're like that. And then the core of, I kind of felt the same thing, like, and yeah, it's a curious thing that we didn't actually set out to upset people or put people offside, but and we've done it on particularly in the early days, we did it on many occasions, and it was just, that's the band, that's the way the band was in those days. That was the attitude we had, like, was just like, well, fuck you, fuck them all. We had a saying, fuck them all, big and small, fuck them all. And we didn't mean that in a disrespectful or a belligerent way, but, we were so cocksure of what we were doing that you either, liked it, and if you didn't like it, it's just too fucking bad, We weren't going to run after people or run after an audience you know, like begging for acceptance. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, that's, I don't think too many bands would have done that or did do it anyway. I mean, I think, you know, I think you earn your place by, you know, being who you are, being truthful to who you are and what you are, and then the rest follows on, I think.